Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your Akazaki Yahoo, and I start this broadcast as I start any broadcast by giving all praise, honor, and great esteem to the Most High Power, Yahuwah, Bahashem, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say Shalom Wabarukim, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High power, under one covenant. Hallelujah. I am joined this evening by my aunt Kenaniah. Shalom, Aki.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Maki. Shalom, shalom, Yasharal.
Hallelujah. Praise Yah.
Hallelujah.
We had to do our weekly bill. Hadn't been able to get together through the week. But we get together, today and tomorrow, Abba willing. So, we is going through the week and a little bit extra. So, all praises. Uh, Shout out to the Ak Yaliel. Uh, when the last time we were able to get with the Ak, but certainly hope to see him soon and have him continue to build with us. Um, so, we're at a great milestone here, finishing up the second book and of Exodus, the book of Exodus, second book of the Torah, and getting ready to move into the third book on tomorrow. So we're going to go through, Yah willing, we're going to go through 36 through 40 and finish up. So very excited to continue this continuous journey, and all praise to the Most High for all that it has told and been able to build us up. Now, last week we had the feast of Shavuot, and we traveled to uh, Columbus, Ohio, to meet with Miss Bakai in that area and some from surrounding areas. And we had a wonderful time building with family there, meeting new people and seeing people who we hadn't seen in a while. And it's always a barakah when we're able to get together for the feast. So all praises to the Most High. Let's,
Hallelujah.
yes, indeed. Let's go ahead and get to um, Bereshit, Salika, Shemot, Shemot,
Okay.
uh, chapter 36. We see the headline here, the tabernacles underwritten. That's interesting, underwritten. That's interesting how it's how they put that there. So let's get to it. Verse number 1. It says, when wrought Bezaleel and a uh,
Hallelujah.
Aholiab, Aholiab, Aholiab. Look, I look at that and like, what?
Right.
Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man in whom Yahuwah put wisdom and understanding to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary according to all that Yahuwah had commanded. So if I remember correctly, we were at the building of the temple or the beginning and getting things together. And so I said temple. Was that, am I right about that? Am I?
It was the tabernacle. It wasn't,
Tabernacle. Okay.
yeah, Khan.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay. Okay. So the building of the tabernacle, not the temple. Salika said that incorrectly. Uh, they were getting the instruction, and this is where we had left off. Uh, it's been seemed like it's been a while back, but it's only been about a week, and lots happened in that week. So,
Yeah,
but
Khan.
yes, indeed. Let's continue here. Verse 2. And Moshe called Bezaleel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man in whom Yahuwah had put wisdom, even every one whose heart stirred him up to come into the work to do it. And they received of Moshe all the offering which the children of Israel had brought of the work of the service of the sanctuary to make it withal. And they brought yet into him free offerings every morning. So they were constantly giving everything that they could in order to get the sanctuary of the Most High
Hmm.
situated. So all praises.
All praises. You know, a lot of times we give once, and
Right.
we think that we're done. Like after that, that's not the way our ancestors were operating in this point in time.
Absolutely not. It says they brought, uh, receive of Moshe all the offerings which the children of Israel brought by the work of the service of the sanctuary to make it whereall. And they brought yet unto him free offerings every morning. So they were bringing free offerings, free will offerings,
Hmm.
uh, every morning. They were bringing something. Put this in for Yahuwah. This for the sanctuary. This is you still need that. Well, here's something else. Here,
Hmm.
you got. Oh, here's more. And just that spirit of willingness to help, to give, and think they literally had nothing. They were slaves, and now they got freedom.
Hmm.
Yes, they're in the wilderness, but they haven't made it to the land just yet. But they're free from the bondage of captivity that they were suffering in Mizraim. That's enough to make you want to do anything. And
Come.
I mean, what are they really doing? They're not working and toiling like we are. You know, they out there in the wilderness gathering these things together. So you know, might as well. All praises. Verse 4. And all the wise men that brought all the work of the sanctuary came every man from his work which he made. And they spake unto Moshe, saying, the people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which Yahuwah commanded to make. So he's saying that they done brought more than enough. Verse 6. And Moshe gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman make any more work for offerings for the sanctuary, so that the people were restrained from bringing. So he had to make a proclamation. Look here, y'all got to stop.
And we're not gonna see something like this in the church.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not going. And listen, these pastors have been receiving what they call a tithe, but we now know, no longer being in the dark, we know that that's not a tithe that they've been receiving.
Right.
It's been a free will offering, but
Mhm.
they've been receiving it for 20, 30 years, some longer than that. You know what I mean? Uh, and I understand that they do have bills, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
stuff like that, but you're not gonna hear those individuals say, we've got enough.
Mm-mm. It's never enough. It's never enough because they got a place to do with the surplus. There
Hmm.
wasn't no bank accounts back here. In this wilderness, wasn't no ATM, debit cards. None of that existed there. You know, you gave the real material, and once the need for the real material was done, that was it. So that was all it was. So um, yeah, but that's why they today they'll keep taking everything you got. You like, I mortgaged my house. Here's some money. They're
Right,
gonna say,
right.
don't mortgage your house. They gonna take it. They're gonna say thank you. God bless you. Let's keep going here. Verse 7. Uh, for For the stuff that they had was sufficient for all the work to make of it, and too much. So not only was it sufficient, it was more. It was too much. Construction process.
Hmm.
Construction process is what we're getting into here. So they are really moving along with building this tabernacle. And let's continue here, verse 8. It says, "And every wise hearted man among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, of and blue and purple and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work made he them. The length of one curtain was 20 and 8 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits. The curtains were all of one size." So here we had some uniformity going on there. Verse 10, and he coupled the 5 curtains into uh, slicker, and he coupled the 5 curtains one into the other, and the other 5 curtains he coupled one into the other. So he's trying to paint a pretty good picture here. Um, See how this develops in my mind here. See the mental picture that you get out.
You can.
Verse 11, and he made loops of blue on the edge of the curtain from the selvage in the couplings. Likewise, he made in the uttermost sides of the other of another curtain in the couplings of the second. 50 loops made he in one curtain, and 50 loops made he in the edge of the curtain, which was in the coupling of the second. The loops held one curtain to another. You get the picture?
Yeah, kind of like this is not some rinky dink tent that's being put together. You know what I mean? This is something, that if we were to approach this,
Hmm.
like we would know that it's something special about
Yeah,
what's going on inside here.
yeah, yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's definitely not a something thrown together.
Right.
It's definitely not. Something you see and something you could just walk past and go, eh, I don't even want to know what's going on in there. Something that will definitely catch some attention to you. So
Indeed.
yes, indeed. Uh, Verse 13, and he made 50 teshes of gold and coupled the curtains one unto another with the teshes. So it became one tabernacle.
Hmm.
And he made curtains of goat hair from the tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains he made them. And the
It's
length of
like a
one,
it's like it's like a castle of a tent. You know what I mean? If I could put it into, you know what I mean? It's
okay,
something that could,
kind, kind.
11. Just reading that past that 11 tents, at the top. So it's almost like it's got 11 peaks at the top.
Okay, okay, kind.
Oh,
Okay,
Salaki, I think I read that wrong. 11 curtains total. Salaki.
okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to get a picture of it. Yeah, I'm still working on it. So we at 15 here, right?
Gone.
Okay. Verse 15. It says the length of one curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits was the breadth of one curtain. The 11 curtains were of one size. And he coupled 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves. So this is a lot about the curtains at this point here. And we think of curtains as covering like windows. So I don't see any mention of windows, but maybe never not so much as the windows as it maybe feels maybe outlines the wall more so.
Indeed, Doc. It's
Okay,
a wall. It forms a wall.
kind. Okay, that makes better sense there. All right, verse 17. And he made 50 loops upon the uttermost edge of the curtain in the coupling, and 50 loops made he upon the edge of the curtain which coupled the second. And he made 50 teshes of brass to couple the tent together, that it made that it might be one. So he was making it into hmm, so that it's kind of like one continuous piece. We don't really get the. I think what I'm missing is the framing of it. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm not seeing the frame in my I'm trying to vision it. That's where I'm missing. I think it's the framing because I don't know if it's kind of if it's in a round set like this or if it's kind of going in a box or how exactly the I'm not seeing that in my what I'm saying as I'm reading.
Well, you and I don't know if we read it yet, but it is gonna be a box because it's east, west,
Oh,
north, and south.
kind, I think I do remember seeing that in the previous chapter. So
Yeah, we did read that. Yep.
okay, let's continue. Verse 19. And he made a covering for the tent of ram skin, dyed red, and covering and a covering of the badger skin above that. Excuse me. Verse 20. And he made boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood, standing standing up. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit of the framing here.
Hmm.
Getting into the framing a little bit. Verse 21. The length of the boards were 10 cubits, and the breadth of one board was 1 cubit and a half. 10 cubits. Uh, yeah, any idea of what we're talking about a cubit
You
size
know,
wise?
I want to say that a cubic, if I remember before, a cubic was like from the middle finger, or yeah, from the middle finger all the way to one's elbow
Oh,
would
okay.
be a cubic. So, you're talking about almost 18 inches, uh, you
Yep.
know, a
Common
little bit
scale.
longer than a foot.
Common scale, 17.49 inches.
Okay,
So
yeah.
you right there, right at 18. A span is saying uh, 8.775, 745. And then a hand breadth is 2.91. So I'll praise. That helps.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. Uh, 22, verse 22. It says, one board had two tenorons, equal distance from another. Thus did he made. Thus did he make for all the boards of the tabernacle. Let's see what this tenor tenorons. I don't know if we've seen that before. I don't remember seeing that word. His yard.
God.
Okay, so hand of man, strength. Hmm. I don't remember seeing that, but I could be wrong. It was back in Genesis chapter 3. It was the word for hand.
Hmm.
Hand, hands, hand there. Yeah, so it was used out to Genesis as hand, and then it gets here and it changes to tenon. Tenon, tenons. Slicker. All right, let's continue. Verse 23. And he made boards of the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side southward. All right, yep, we're getting into the framing now. Really getting into the design here. So yeah, it's coming together now. My picture is getting clearer. Verse 24. And 40 sockets of the so silicon, and 40 sockets of silver he made under the 20 boards, two sockets under one board, and one board for he had two tenons, two hands, and two sockets under another board for his two tenons, which hands, human hand. Verse 25. And for the and for the other side of the two, so I don't know why my eyes get going one direction and my mouth go a different direction. Let's start over here. Verse 25. And for the other side of the tabernacle, which is towards the north corner, he made 20 boards, and the fourth socket of silver, silicon, and there 4 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And the side of the tabernacle westward made he 6 boards. So seeing some deviation here, uh, because when it gets to the west, they're doing 6, but when it came to the north, okay, I'm probably trying to read too much into it. Let's keep going.
Well, now, like I think you're right. Like in my mind, I think of a square building. It's gonna be equal on all sides, but this doesn't appear to be so.
No, so I was almost thinking like that, almost like a cube, but
Uh huh.
it's not really a cube. It's um, more like a almost a house. Um, you know how it's kind of this side like this way, and then shorter, and then I'm thinking that's we'll see. We'll get more, but it's a deviation there from place to place here. So all right, verse 28. It says, and 2 boards made he from the corner of the tabernacle in the 2 sides, and they were coupled beneath and coupled together at one head thereof to one ring. Thus he did to both of them in both the corners. I chopped that up on, and they were coupled to beneath and coupled together in the head thereof to one ring. So they were coupled together. They were put in one ring, Thus did he to both of them in both of the corners. Okay, so here he's putting the curtain. Is this back to the curtain? No, this is the board.
Yeah, I thought it was on.
Okay, all right. Let's keep going. I'm not gonna. I'm not trying to reduplicate this, so I just want to try to get a good understanding of it. But
Mm-hmm.
verse 30. And there were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16 sockets of silver. Under every board, 2 sockets. Under every board, 2 sockets. So were they like in the middle, I wonder, or not exactly, not 100% on. So let's continue. And he, verse 31, and he, excuse me, excuse me, need that. Verse 31, and he made bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the side westward. And he made the middle bar to shoot through the boards from the one end to the other.
And see, I couldn't tell you what that exactly looks like. You
Yeah,
know,
I'll get nothing from that. I was thinking that when you said I get nothing, and I don't know if maybe I'm chopping it up, but it's not it's not clear. But and I bet the Most High put the Spirit on a eye who could probably hear this and draw it
I
like
was thinking the
nothing.
same thing. You know, we
Um,
read that in the first couple of verses. You know,
mhm,
this spirit was this wisdom was given to them. You
mhm.
know,
Yeah, kind. And I bet I could hear this. A certain eye, could hear this, and who could draw and could replicate this, just draw it completely out. Well, based on what is written here, and would get it. You know, it'll be like wow. Um, let's continue. Verse 34. And he overlaid the board with gold, and made their rings of gold to be placed on the bar, and overlaid the bar with gold. Uh, and he made a veil of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. With cherubim made he it of cunning work. I like how they use that cunning work. That's so interesting how they translated it into cunning work. It's the King's English.
right, right.
King's English. Verse 36. And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. Their hooks were of gold, and their cast for them 4 sockets of silver. And he made an hanging from the tabernacle door of blue and purple and scarlet, of fine twined linen of needlework. And the 5 pillars of it, uh, and the 5 pillars of it with their hooks, and he overlaid their, I want to say chapters, but that's chapters, overlaid their chapters and their fleets with gold, but their 5 sockets were of brass. Let's take a quick look at that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that chapters is.
Yeah, that's not. You look at it, I wanted to say chapter. I saw that I, man. Rosh. Rosh.
Roshi.
Rosh. I don't know where I got Shush. Roshi, yeah. She got the she on there. Okay, so the top, the head, summit, underpart, chief, total summer, sum, height. So I'm thinking the top of it, the head of it.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause we are talking about the pillars. So the top of the
Here
pillar,
come.
yeah. So that kind of makes sense. Um, okay, okay, okay. Let's continue. I was hoping for a pretty good middle picture, but they just continuing. So I've always wanted to not to sidetrack too much, but I always wanted to make a movie out of the scriptures, and I think this would be the most difficult part, uh, kind of con- constructing this part of it,
Mm-hmm.
and having them, I guess, reenact this part of it where they're just following through. So they would just be working it and then building it. Because you almost have to reenact it, especially if you did it. I think I would. The best way to do it would be animation to really give it the character that you wanted. Um, just to try to do it with people, I think would be um, difficult in this time, especially with other people making them the people and everything, from the Egyptians to the Hebrews to everything else. So
Here come.
yeah, I think an animation would be um, most ideal. But construction continues. Let's pick up chapter 37 here. It says, and Bezalel made an ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half were the length of it, and a cubit and a half were the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half were the height of it. So I just really wonder with Bezalel how this ark, he gets this wisdom and his hands can do almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wonder how was it being around this ark, with this kind of ability to just create something with his hands like that. Is with that. Would you think that would be a humble brother, or you think that would be would he kind of be? I
You
don't know.
know, I would say, and this is totally speculation,
Hmm.
but with him operating
At this capacity,
on a different, yeah, at this capacity, man,
yeah,
we would probably say that he's strange.
yeah, yeah. I would think so. I would think so. Honestly, you know, he's dealing directly with Moshe. Moshe is basically the king at this point, and he's the instructions that's given. He's able to just make it, with his hands, with his hands, and of
Mm-hmm.
course it's coming directly from the Most High. But you know, 2 days ago he wasn't doing this, and
Right.
now he's able to do this. Like this is
I mean, 4 or 5 months ago,
yeah,
they were all slaves.
hmm yeah, and now he's building the tabernacle for the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Like literally,
Yeah.
he's building the tabernacle for the Most High. So I hope he stayed humble. I don't know. I don't think we get any bit into that. Uh, but I just imagine, I'll put myself in that position. How would I feel? How would I, how would my demeanor be if one day I'm regular and the next day I'm doing all of this with my hands? So something to think about. Stay humble. Um, verse 2. And he overlaid it with pure gold within and without, and made a crown of gold to it round about. So a crown, that would be the top of it. So this is still talking about the, I kind of deviate a little bit, but this is still talking about uh, the ark.
Mm-hmm.
He made an ark of shittim wood. So and then dealing with this gold. I mean, I know it talked about in the time of Solomon. You know, gold was so plentiful. You know, they treated silver like rocks,
Mm-hmm.
and so our people have been used to dealing with gold, but you know, we don't have it's we pay top dollar for anything we get now, and break your back to get it if you have to. Verse 3. Excuse me. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold to be set by the 4 corners of it, even 2 rings upon the one side of it, and 2 rings upon the other side of it. And he made staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with gold. I mean, he put gold on everything,
Mm-hmm.
on so much stuff. I mean, we see some brass and some silver, but man, he is. I just imagine working with, how would that be when you plating stuff with gold, wood at that, you know, stuff that go out the ground and putting gold on it. So that's pretty extraordinary. Verse 5, chapter 37, verse 5. And he put the staves into the rings by the side of the ark to bear the ark. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half were the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half were the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubim of gold, beaten out of one piece made he them, on the 2 ends of the mercy seat, and the cherubim on the ends of this side, and another cherubim on the other end of that side. Out of the mercy seat made he the cherubim, one, slick eye, on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, and and covered the and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces one to another, even with the mercy seat towards the face of the cherubim. Did you get that? I didn't get that.
Con, I know that these cherubims are looking at each other,
Yeah, I got that part of it.
but
And
I'm
their
not
wings
sure
up.
how the mercy seat is looking at them.
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't get that part. It's not. It's not as clear as I would like for it to be. It's not clear. It's not clearing in my mind. I'm sure it's clear to, you know, that's not clear to me. It's not forming a picture. Is what I'm saying. But let's continue.
You know, I'm wondering. Nah, they don't. Yeah, because I'm thinking, but it's the mercy seat is in between the cherubims, right?
It sounds like it. Sounds like the cherubim is there. The cherubim are here. I don't know if I'm in the frame or out of frame, but the cherubim are here. The mercy seat is like where I am. The cherubim are here. They're looking at each
Mm-hmm.
other, and like the mercy seat is basically looking facing them. So they're
Okay.
facing each other, and so that's kind of. I guess I did kind of get that. It's
Okay.
kind of like this.
And when you say it like that, yeah, I
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
kind of see the picture there. So okay, and then they got their wings flared. So that's That's interesting. I would like to see more details about the chairman, just outside of their wings. But that would be, you know, interesting to see how they would, how he would, at that point, with that much direction, how he's building them, how he's making them. Um, so, and how you keep these knuckleheads from worshiping them? That's my real question.
Right, right.
Verse 10. And he made a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof, and overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereunto a crown of gold round about. So he made the table, overlaid it with pure gold, and then there's a crown on the table. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
guessing that the table is like this. So even if it's I'm doing kind of like an oval, but even if it's a perfect square, which we don't get the dimensions of it. I mean, we get the dimensions, but we don't get the frame of it. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we know that there's a crown over it. So I don't think I've seen a table like that. That you kind of go into to put something on, but it makes sense that it would have a crown. That would seem like a set apart type of table, that you would have in a place for the Most High. I would hate to see into like a pastor study and see something like that. That would be disturbing.
You said in a pastor study.
Yeah, I would like it's like you go into you go into a pastor study in a church maybe, and
Uh-huh.
you see something like that, like there's a table, and it has like that crown. It may not be gold or
Okay,
whatever.
con.
Yeah,
And it's got, that crown is some type of structure that's elevated above the table.
right. It kind of
You
sits on
know.
top of the table, and it
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it, it makes it almost like an open enclosure, like a regular crown
Indeed.
would. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If I saw that, that would be disturbing because I know he got that from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, con.
Either he had that made, or somebody gave it to him, or something crazy like that. But this is not what this is for. I would not
Right,
dare. I would not dare say, "Ooh, that sounds good. I'm gonna do that and put it in my living room." I wouldn't dare do that.
right.
I would be too fearful that the Most High would smite my head, my head, my hand, anything that keep me from doing something like that. Verse 12. I'm sorry, I'm getting off. Verse 12. Also, he made thereunto a border of a handbreadth round about, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof round about it. Round about. I don't know where I put it from. Verse 13. And he cast it 4 rings of gold. I don't know why. I thought that I read that wrong, but that's what it says. And he cast it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings onto the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. I'm still trying to work on this mental picture and trying to read this, and it's not clicking. It's not clicking at all.
Okay.
Verse 14. um, Over against the border were the rings, and the places for the staves to bear the table. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, his dishes, and his spoons, and his bowls, to cover the to cover Silica, and his covers to cover withal of pure gold. So he made all of that with pure gold. Wow. Now imagine now, remember now, all of this stuff, all of this beautiful, these beautiful things that are being made, all of this stuff was stolen from us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stolen. All this stuff is somewhere right now.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not with us. It's with somebody else. I don't know if it ever came back from Babylon. That was the first place it really. I think it
Well,
disappeared.
um, it was Xerxes, or I forget exactly which Persian king.
Hmm.
Uh, they found in the scrolls written where the Persian king had made uh, a decree that all of the vessels that were stolen during the Babylonian captivity went back with Ezra and Nehemiah.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but you're right, like these things would have been stolen again
Hmm.
during well, we read at one point everything was burned when the Greeks came in, and if not destroyed then, we know that it would have been stolen and plundered when the
Right.
Romans,
Right.
in 70 AD.
Yeah. And I've shown on a previous video the picture of them carrying our stuff away,
Hmm.
those Romans. But man, that is, whew, that's some heavy stuff. To think that this is all part of the Most High's house, and us being a part of that house, and all of this stuff, all of his stuff is gone, and here we are, you know, trying to better our understanding of it here. Verse 17, and he made the candlestick, the menorah, of pure gold, of beaten work, made made he the candlestick, the staves and his branches, his bowls, his knobs, and his flowers were of the same. The six branches going out to the side thereof, three branches of the candlestick out from the one side thereof, three branches of the candlestick out to the other side thereof, three branches made after the fashion of the almonds.
It's
On
three bowls.
oh, slick out. Told I would straighten me. I don't know how I said branches right there. I said branches plain as day, and slick out. I appreciate that.
Hmm.
Three bowls made after the fashion of almonds. While I was reading that, I guess because I'm so familiar with the menorah, I was really picturing it,
Hmm.
and it was, I can kind of see the details, especially when it said the almond. Uh, yeah, okay, let me just continue. Three bowls made after the fashion of almonds in the branches, a cup and a flower, and three bowls made like almonds in each branch, a knob and a flower. So throughout the six branches, going out of the candlestick or out of the menorah. And the candlestick, and in the candlestick were four bowls made like almonds and knobs, knobs,
Knops.
knobs. Okay, knobs. Uh, and the flower, and his flowers, and his flower. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at that candlestick there. And then we read it. Yeah, no wrong. Lampstand. That just lampstand. That's it. Simplest term for it, I guess. Um, let's check out these knobs too while we're in here.
They come.
Yeah, I know that almond is just describing the shape. This is
Captor.
Captor. I was gonna say, yeah, I
Or
was
would
gonna
it
leave
be
that
Captore?
Captor. Tori. Kind. Okay. Bulb, knob, capital, capital of a pillar. So this is the top of it, the top of the. Um, I don't even have a manure here. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I got to get a manure. Got to get a manure. I get a couple
Mm-hmm.
actually, but definitely got to get a manure. Let me see. We leave off at 21. Tomorrow.
Kind of. Well, yeah, we're ready for.
21. Okay. All right. Verse 21. It says, and a knob or I don't know why I say knob, knob under two branches of the same, and a knot or a knot under two branches of the same, and a knot under two branches of the same, according to the six branches. So this is a knot would be more like the you know what I'm saying am I making sense? I'm not. I'm kind of.
And a knot under two branches of the same, and a knot under two branches of the same.
I don't have. There, hold on one second. I don't have a menorah, but I got this armband that I had made, and so
Okay.
that kind of helps. So I think this is referring to the canop here as it. So this is probably not a as
Well,
a and
I thought up top was the bowls.
yeah, the bowls I think would be like here
Uh huh.
is what this would refer to, that portion of it there. But the canop I think is like this part of it, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
I considered that the branch
Hmm. Maybe I'm
because remember it said three branches on the one side of the candle and three branches on the other side.
yeah. Let's get back to the text here. Uh, um. Hmm. Okay. The candlestick, four bowls made like an almond. His canop and his flower. Or maybe that's more of the decoration that is actually on the maybe that's more of a decoration that's actually on the device on the lampstand.
Hmm.
Maybe so. Okay. Okay. Uh,
And this is cunning work. You know what I
right.
mean? So they're paying particular detail to everything. So
Yeah, because you see, well, it says his canop and his flower.
hmm
So I'm thinking that's just the details of the how it's constructed. It's not like a flat like what I have. Just a flat representation. It's a you know, like a festive, lively type of setup, and it's probably not stenciled in. It's probably more like it's dramatic. It's probably really dramatic how it's you know for the Most High it wouldn't be just regular. So that's what I'm thinking. I may be mistaken. What did we leave off?
ready for verse 22.
22. Fine, fine. Okay. All right, and they're knots. and their branches. So they got verse 22. Chapter Shemot, chapter 37 and verse 22. Uh, their canop and their branches were of the same. All of it was one beaten work of pure gold. So I imagine that would have been some. I mean, it was one solid piece of gold, basically, is what it's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with the details that go into it, um, it was. I'm sure it was very sophisticated. It wasn't just like a lampstand, like what you would think of you know, what you see in the stores. So yeah, even the menorahs, the menorahs that we see here, I'm sure pale in comparison to what they were given here. Verse 23, and he made the seven lampstands. So they got, and he made the seven lamps, and and he snip, snippers,
Snuffers.
snuffers. I'm like, what? And his snuffers and his snuff dishes
God.
of pure gold. Look, I want to say, I really wanted to say sniff when I saw that, and I'm like, that's not sniff, 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 snuffers. Yeah, my
Melkawan. Melkahan.
okay, snuffers
Okay.
tongs for the altar use. Okay, so we pick up the tongs that you would use to, I guess, handle the a burning menorah.
To handle the menorah.
I'm guessing for the
Okay.
lamp, for the
I'm
lamp specific.
I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, but I'm thinking to handle the sacrifice, but we are talking about, we were talking in reference to the menorah, so probably is something to do with the menorah, but the idea of I have of the priest and uh these sacrifices going on, it's to me it just appears to be almost like a barbecue shop, a shack. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? With the smoke going. You
kind.
know what I mean?
Yes, indeed.
And picking up tongs to move the meat. I don't. But again, I'm probably wrong about that. But what's a snuff dish?
Yeah, let's look at that. Let's look at that. That was a good. That's really something to hold that.
Okay,
Mark, Mark,
mata.
Martha, Martha. Yeah, it sounds like something for it to sit on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, fire holder,
Con.
censer, fire pan, snuff dish, tray, snuff dish, yeah, fire pan, censer. So it's not enough. You can't have you know, the Most High wouldn't have a nail clipper. He'd have a nail clipper holder.
Mm-hmm. Con.
So you'd have a place to put the nail clipper. It wouldn't just be you know what I'm saying? Like
It's
he's
got
like,
its holder as well.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And his holder got to have feet.
Right.
And it's got to be all gold. Yeah. So it's funny. I never hear in the scriptures any mention of platinum, and
Mm.
I think if platinum was that higher end metal, uh,
It would have been in the tabernacle.
yeah. And I think gold. I don't know. Are they playing us with platinum? I don't know.
I think that's very good point. You know
Right.
you know and who was buying it? It was us back in the late '90s,
Right.
2000s.
Right.
Killing one another for a cheaper metal.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's a good question. What's the durability of it? Because gold is very durable.
Right.
It's formed in the fire. How is platinum even formed? So
I,
that's
I
something to look
think
into. Is
platinum was just like more rare or something. Maybe that's what it
that
was.
what it was? Okay.
I,
Okay.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. All right. Verse 24. And a talent of pure gold made he it, and all the vessels thereof. Yeah. No platinum mentioned at all. Verse 25. And he made uh, the censer off, and he made the censer altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of the cubit, and the breadth of it a cubit. It was four square, and 2 cubits was the height thereof, or the height of it. The horns thereof were all the same. Hmm. Were were of the same. So they were of the same. So the horns of it were of the same. I know I chopped that up pretty good. Let me read that again. And he made a censer altar of shittim wood. So this is a censer altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it was a cubit, and the four corners 2 cubits, and the height of it and the horns thereof were all the same. So it was all the
Mm-hmm.
same height, and the mass of it overall was the same in each direction.
Con.
So okay. Verse 26. And he overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof round about, and the horns of it. Also he made unto it a crown of gold round about. So he's pretty particular about these crowns. Everything gets a crown.
Mm-hmm.
He's putting crown
So
on.
it's like uniform. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you're gonna be able to, if you saw this sitting outside somewhere,
right,
you'd be like, that belongs in the temple or in the
right.
in the in the tabernacle.
Kind. Don't touch it.
Right.
Don't touch it. That's the most highest. Don't touch it. Get the
Right.
staves. Get the staves and pick it up and carry it in there. Matter of fact, carry it to the door. Let the priest take it in. Because, yeah, you don't touch that. You don't walk up in there either. Imagine some. That's the thing. We couldn't even walk into the temple. Just walk in. And then these heathens show up and they
Right.
just, I'm like, oh my,
Defile it.
yes, my gracious. My gracious. Verse 27. And he made 2 rings of gold for it for it under the crown thereof, and 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to be pieces, to be places for the staves to bear it withal. And he made staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. Everything gold.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Verse 29. And he made a Kodesh anointing oil, and the pouring censer of sweet spices, according to the work of the
Apothecary.
apothecary. Let's see what are you familiar with that word?
Nah, not at
Oh,
all, Lock. But I want to say we've seen it before, but Rakah.
Rakan. Did we just say it? Rakan?
Yeah, I want to say we. Oh, you know where we saw it in the because this is being relayed. This was relayed to Moshe from the Most High. So
Okay.
we saw it back then. I
He
forget
was on
exactly what
Sinai.
chapter it was, but
He was on Sinai. Okay. Khan.
yeah.
Well, No, this is the first time 30. Well, no,
Okay.
we passed 30. So yeah, this was
Yeah, come.
when we okay, okay, okay. Well, that's 37. Let's go on to 38. Whew. Tabernacle completed.
All right,
Yeah,
come.
this would be I don't know, this would be a part that you would really want to just, get through, but I don't know. I'm thinking of how I don't know, you have to have some people with the vision to be able to see this, and bring it to life
Mm-hmm.
for, if for this part of it to be able to show it. But and then you kind of don't want to because what if you get people putting it on a T-shirt or something stupid like that?
Right, right.
That kind of thing.
It's worshiping it,
Yeah. Oh, this is the tabernacle. Here, get your tabernacle T-shirts.
right. It's sad.
Yeah, yeah. So, gracious. Man, especially we're talking about the cherubim. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the scariest thing because how do you keep people from worshiping those things? Calling on them. Would you please come and help me or something stupid?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, all right. Let's go ahead through 38 here. This is the book of Shemot, chapter 38 and verse 1. It says, And he made an altar of burning silica, and he made the altar of burnt offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits was the breadth thereof. It was foursquare and 3 cubits in height, 3 cubits the height thereof. It was foursquare and 3 cubits the height thereof. Seems like there's a was missing here. 3 cubits
Mm.
was the height thereof. But I don't know, maybe that's why it didn't seem natural to me there when I was reading it. So, verse 2. And he made the horns thereof on the four corners of it, and the horns thereof were the same, and he overlaid it with brass. So this is getting brass as opposed to this is the tougher metal. Brass is what you use to making tools and fighting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, verse 3. And he made all the vessels of the altar the pots and the shovels and the basin and the flesh hooks. Now we're getting into the sacrifices here. The flesh hooks and the fire pans and the vessels thereof were made he of brass. So that's what they were doing the sacrifice on was brass, um, which is interesting. 'Cause I don't think it's conventional to cook on gold or silver
Right.
because I think brass probably can take. Um, I'd
Well,
have to look
I've
at the.
heard of cooking on a tin skillet.
Yeah, yeah. I think most of our skillets are some kind of a metal,
Mm-hmm.
of course metal, but some kind of I don't know what kind of metal that is. I'm gonna have to look into that. Have to look into that and see. 'Cause that makes since I don't think a gold would be as it would look nice, but I don't think the usability would be what it. So let's continue here, verse 4. And he made for the altar a brazen gate, so they got a brazen grate of network under the compression, compassion, under the compass thereof, beneath unto the midst of it. You know what? My eyes are crossed. I'm going to read this for me.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
So that my eyes are
All
crossed.
right. This is the book of Shemot, Exodus chapter 38, verse 7. Or did we just read verse 7?
We just I just read 4. Actually, yeah, just
Okay.
started at 4, if you will.
Con. The book of Shemot, Exodus chapter 38, verse 4. And he made for the altar a brazen grate of network under the compass thereof beneath unto the midst of it. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of the brass to place for the staves. Again, so this is just something to be able to move this
Right.
this item. And
Absolutely.
he made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with brass rather than gold, because again, this is something that needs to be durable,
Right.
able to move these items.
Absolutely.
Uh, I remember us covering this because we drew the same conclusion when we were talking about this before.
4. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Uh,
because that brass is made for that. It's a
hmm
more durable metal than that. The gold and the silver, that's for looking good, but
Indeed.
that brass is for working.
And he put the staves into the rings on the sides of the altar to bear it withal. He made the altar hollow with boards. And he made the laver of brass, and the foot of it brass, and for the looking glasses of the women assembling, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Verse 9. And he made the court on the south side southward. The hangings of the court were of fine twined linen, 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their brazen sockets 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the north side, the hangings were 100 cubits. The pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20. The hooks of the pillars and the fillets of silver. So continuing, this is uniform on
Hmm.
both those sides so far.
Yeah.
Uh, verse 12. And for the west side were hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. So this is smaller dimension,
Hmm.
because those others were 20 and
Right.
this is 10.
So he's closing it in
hmm
on that side. So kind of get that.
Verse 13. And for the east side, eastward 50 cubits. The hangings of one side of the gate were 15 cubits, and their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court gate, on this hand and that hand, were hangings of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen, and their sockets for the pillars were of brass, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and the overlaying of their capiters of silver, and all the pillars of the court were filleted with silver, and the hangings for the gate of the court was needlework of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, and 20 cubits was the length, and the height in the breadth was 5 cubits, answerable to the hangings of the court. And their pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, their hooks of silver, and the overlaying of their capiters and their fillets of silver. And all the pins of the tabernacle and of the court round about were of brass. The cost of the tabernacle. It's the
Mm.
book of Shemot, Exodus chapter 38, verse 21. This is the sum of the tabernacle, even the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moshe, for the service of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aharon the priest, and Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehuda, made all Yahweh commanded Moshe. And with him was Aholiab, son of Ashmach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver, and a cunning workman, and an embroiderer in blue, and in purple, and in scarlet, and fine linen.
Oh,
All,
Slicker.
Salakia, yep,
Oh,
verse 24.
24.
All the gold that was occupied for the work in all the work of the set apart place, even the gold of the offering, was 20 and 9 talents, and 730 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,763 and 15 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. A bakah for every man, that is, half a shekel, after the shekel of the sanctuary, for every one that went to be numbered, from 20 years old and upward, for 600,000, yes, 600,000 and 3,550 men. And the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, and the sockets of the veil, 100 sockets of 100 talents, and a talent for a socket. And of the 1,775 shekels he made hooks for the pillars, and overlaid their capiters, and filleted them. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. And therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the brazen altar, and the brazen grate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. So, you know, they were able to get this done, remember, based on how the people were given. You
Right.
know what I mean? Uh, Likewise, if, you know, those of us who have been awakened
Hmm.
and are in this walk, we're a small segment of the so-called African American community,
Hmm.
and even that community being a small percentage of the of this country.
Hmm.
But if we were to put what we have together,
Right.
what we could be able to get accomplished,
My goodness. My goodness. It would be amazing. It would be
Indeed.
amazing. I mean, it would put, uh, the brother we was talking about last week, the other week, uh, the Not Messing Around committee, not
Oh,
fooling around
Con.
committee. It would put what they army. It would put that to shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. So, um, I mean, yeah, if we could get our minds and our ruachs right, but I think that's gonna have to come with Hamashiach because,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and I think brothers are doing better. I think it started off pretty rocky, but I think it's gotten better. I think that brothers are more respectful. Certain brothers, I should say, are more respectful of people who are not in their assembly under their leadership. So, but yeah, yeah, I think we'll continue to grow.
Now, this chapter 39, I
Uh-huh.
believe that it is the same chapter or the same words that we read in Exodus chapter 28.
You think?
Does chapter 39 have 43 verses?
Uh, you sure right.
Yeah,
It's the exact same. You think?
I believe so. Let me go back and look. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna go to my 39, and you tell me if I'm reading the same. I'm going back to 28 rather, and
28.
you
Okay.
tell me, yeah, you tell me if it's the same word for word.
Okay.
All right. So
Go
this is 28. And take thou unto thee Aharon thy brother and his sons with him from among the children of Israel, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office, even Aharon. So it's not the same, is it?
No, no, it's not.
Okay, con.
No, it's
So
not.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this out. I probably will cover it pretty quickly though.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That's fine.
Because again, we've read Exodus 28 1 through 43, and it's
We've gotten
yep.
to, yeah, that's right. So it's the same because it does reference it. Exodus 28 1 through 43. It
Yeah,
references
con.
it right here at the top. So, um, but yeah. But you know, I think I know this about the Most High, and I definitely respect. He believes in that two to three witnesses. So
That's right.
not just just say something one time. He's gonna come
Yep.
back and say it a couple times at least. So
Con.
that's a
So
deal.
this is the book of Shemot, Exodus chapter 39. And of the blue and purple and scarlet they made cloths of service to do service in the set apart place, and made the set apart garments for Aharon, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he made the ephod of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into wires to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it, to couple it together. By the two edges was it coupled together. And the curious girdle of his ephod that was upon it was of the same, according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And they wrought onyx stones enclosed in ouches of gold, graven, and signets are graven with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. So uh, you have certain people today that believe in the replacement theory, and that
Hmm.
replacement theory is, stating that the Christian church has replaced the children of Israel.
Hmm.
But right here we're reading that these stones are for a memorial for the
Hmm.
children of Israel.
Absolutely,
So this is everlasting.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, because the promise that he made to our father Abraham. What the consistency that we've seen through these two books has been immaculate. I
Hmm.
mean, think about what we've read thus far. I mean, it's it's been it's been concise. I mean, and as we continue, we'll see more and more of a lot of consistency. The story is not changing. It's not deviating. So,
Con.
yeah.
All right. Verse 8.
Hmm.
And he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was four square. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set it in four rows of stones. That the first row was of sardius, of a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row. And the second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, a ligure, and a gate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row, beryl, and onyx, and jasper. They were enclosed in ouches of gold in their enclosings. Uh,
Now,
I forget exactly, which stone represents which tribe.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, it told us that in a previous chapter.
okay,
Uh,
con.
but I was gonna mention how, ironically, we really don't. I think in modern now, we really don't deal with these. Sapphire we know about, emeralds we know about, diamonds of course we know about, um, and the onyx. That's pretty much it out of these
Right,
12.
right.
Um,
I'm not sure what a gate, Ligar. I remember us looking at
Right.
the
Hebrew on those.
scriptures and
Yeah.
getting and like one of them is kind of we even looked at these.
Yeah.
We pulled them up and
You're right. The
one
Google.
of them looked like sapphire to us. Like there was two that looked like both of them looked like sapphire.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I wonder is that them not not doing a good translation, or
Hmm.
if it's something else to it. But uh, I mean, just in modern times, like you go in a jewelry store, I don't think you can ask them for a carbuncle. They'd be like, "What's that?"
Right.
What that is, or if they do that, I don't think you can find it. I mean, they probably do as far as because they use the birthstones,
Hmm.
uh, which excuse me, I'm not familiar with those, but who really cares about that? But it's just a thought that came to my mind when we were reading that again.
Okay. All right. Verse 14. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of the signet, every one with his name, according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends of writhen work of pure gold. And they made 2 ouches of gold, and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 writhen chains of gold in the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate, and the 2 ends of the 2 writhen chains they fastened in the 2 ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them on the two ends of the breastplate upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings, and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, toward the forepart of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loose from the ephod, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work, all of blue, and there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of a harpagon, with a band round about the hole, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates.
Mm.
And the bell of the pomegranate, and bell of the pomegranate round about the hem of the robe to minister in, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And they made coats of fine linen of woven work for Aharon and for his sons, a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And they made the plate of the set apart crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like the engraving of signet, holiness to Yahweh. And
Praise.
they, hallelujah.
Excuse me.
All right. Verse 31. And they tied onto it a lace of blue, to fasten it on high upon the mitre, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. Verse 32. Thus was all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished. And the children of Israel did according to all Yahweh commanded Moshe. So did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moshe, the tent and all his furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, and his pillars, and his sockets, and the covering of ram skin dyed red, and the covering of badger skins, and the veil of the covering, the ark of testimony, and the staffs thereof, and the mercy seat, the table, and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread, the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle doors, the brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staffs, and all his vessels, the laver, and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, and his sockets, and the hangings of the court gate, his cords, and his pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle for the tent of the congregation, the cloths of service to do service in the set apart place, and the set apart garments of Aharon the priest, and his sons' garments to minister in the priest's office. According to all Yahweh commanded Moshe, so the children of Israel made all the work. And Moshe did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as Yahweh had commanded. Even so had they done it. And Moshe blessed them. Hallelujah.
Praise Yah. Yes, indeed. That is very kind. I wonder if, while we was reading this, I wondered in my mind if, what if, I don't know how you do this, but every generation had to reconstruct the tabernacle, and
Mm.
would they have that appreciation for it with the completion of it? Uh, I just imagine where they were here, how they, how they felt, and how connected they were with the Most High. You know, going through all of this, seeing it completed, and getting to the end of it, how that would even more so solidify the relationship. It's one thing when he do for us, but for when we do something for him that we can see,
Hmm.
that's a powerful gesture, uh,
Indeed.
in the hearts of in the hearts of these people.
Yeah.
And
Uh
mhm,
even when King David wanted to build the temple,
mhm,
the Most High said, it's good that you wanted to do it, but
right,
this task is going to be upon your son.
yeah,
But it pleased him to be mindful to
right,
want to do that. Because
absolutely,
he had never dwelt in a physical building. So just being mindful to want to do it. You know what I mean? Like kind of what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. I wonder if that would have, but I don't know how you could do it every generation. Um, we didn't get a time frame of what it took to get all of this together. But every 30 to 40 years, or every 50 years, uh, you rebuild it. Rebuilt it. Well, what would you do with the last one? Tear it down and
Right,
burn it?
right.
I don't know.
Uh, and because this is, it's not something that's small. You know what I mean?
Right,
This took a whole tribe to move.
kind,
It
yes
took
indeed. Oh yes indeed. Yeah, and it was maybe that was, but I'm just thinking along the lines of you know what from what we just read in chapter 39, and how the I can just imagine the morale, of having that complete. It had to have been a right along the same feeling right after Pharaoh got washed out.
hmm
It has to be right there. And now we got the tabernacle completed, and it's it's wonderful. It's done. We got everything that he wanted. We did exactly how he wanted it. And so to the ends with Moshe giving a Barakai to all of us, all of them, and so that's got to be like that's how you keep people connected with their power. It's something like that. But when you go generations forward, I mean, it's no wonder they turn into knuckleheads. If they don't
Yeah,
have that connection, you
it
know, they
can.
they only hear stories about it. But to
Mm-hmm.
actually, you know, feel it, to do the work, to give to it, I mean that that's powerful. That's
It
powerful.
can.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. That's what was going through my mind when you was reading that.
That would, when we were reading about it in the previous chapter,
Hmm.
I was thinking of a way to possibly get work with a youth group
Hmm.
and like possibly using some popsicle sticks as a
Mm.
cubic. You know what I
Okay.
mean? To try to, try to recreate the
Yeah. Okay.
structure.
Okay. That'd be
On a
interesting.
small scale.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And I think again, I think the ideal situation for this would be, I believe, an animation, a drawing, um,
Mm-hmm.
and in construct. Um, I think that'll be the best, the most dignified way to do it. Um, you know, costumes, as far as costumes, of course, you can make it the costume that you would want it to be, uh, with all the details. Because at this point, we haven't seen the fringes haven't even been introduced.
Right.
So
Right.
they're still, how are they even dressing is the question. We really don't even get any insight on that.
Very good
Um,
point.
yeah, you know, it's not even discussed. So we'd have to assume that they were dressing as the people in that land, considering that they've come out of bondage, and so did they have clothes? Were they dressed like Egyptians? They borrowed a lot from the Egyptians. Did they reconstruct their whole wardrobe with you know, the stuff they had to give to the for the tabernacle? They were given to the point where they had to be made to stop. So all praises. Just just some thoughts, some food for thought. So this last chapter, 38 verses, and let's go ahead and get through this one. This is the last one here. Let's
God.
go forward. Yeah, and then we get into Leviticus. We can do that tomorrow. It's a quarter after midnight, right at the quarter after. Um, yeah, we're going to do this one nice and smooth here. Um, I think I better, if you don't mind, I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, I got it. I got
Okay,
it.
hold on,
It's,
bye. Hold on.
it's the book of Shemot, Exodus chapter 40, the tabernacle erected. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, on the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and the cover of the ark with the veil. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set in order the things that are in to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick, and the light, the lamps thereof. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang up the hangings at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle, and all that is therein, and shall hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be set apart. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering, and all his vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most set apart. And thou shalt anoint the laver and his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aharon and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. And thou shalt put upon Aharon the set apart garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. You know, looking back at that verse where, they were to be washed,
Right.
it's almost like a precursor to the immersion,
Time.
something that we
Time.
must all go through.
Right.
Even Mashiach was also immersed.
Mm-hmm.
We're a nation of priests and kings.
Correct. Yeah, and part of that would be definitely being that one being clean, and two, uh, just that constant mention of that water. Uh, that is that shows the uh, where the Most High is direction that he's sending us to.
Hmm.
Where his representative is the direction that he's sending us to. So definitely that um, being mindful, and that was a daily thing for them. So it wasn't just, oh, you did get it done and it's over. Um, I know that's how the immersion is, but of course
Hmm.
this was about them being clean as well. So
God. All right. Verse 14. And thou shalt bring his sons and clothe them with coats, and thou shalt anoint them as thou did anoint their father, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office. For their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Thus did Moshe, according to all that Yahweh commanded him, so did he. And it came to pass in the first month, in the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. And Moshe reared up the tabernacle, and fastened his sockets, and set up the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up his pillars. And he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent upon it, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staves on the ark, and put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he put the table in the tent of the congregation, upon the side of the tabernacle northward, without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before Yahweh, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation, over against the table, on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil. And he burnt sweet incense thereon, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle. And he put the altar of burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water there to wash withal. And Moshe and Aharon and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat, when they went into the tent of the congregation. And when they came near unto the altar, they washed, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moshe finished the work. Just hearing that reminds me of Mashiach, finishing his work. you know.
God, yes indeed, yes indeed. That was
Yeah.
Yep, that was a good illusion there. Not illusion, but alluded to
Yeah,
Mashiach saying that same thing, very same thing. It is finished.
indeed. Uh, the glory of Yahweh. It's the book of Shemot, Exodus chapter 40, verse 34. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle, and Moshe was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Yahweh was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys.
All praise.
Hallelujah. Man,
Praise
could you
God.
imagine that?
I couldn't imagine that would be so magnificent. I mean, and then you move by that. So
Man, you
cloud
got
by day,
direction. You know what I mean? Like you,
time.
and that's what I be praying. You know,
Man,
lead me. I be like, you
yes,
know,
indeed.
tell me when to go. You know, tell me when to stay put. You know.
All praises. Yes, indeed. I'm with I'm with you 1,000% on that, and that is exactly what we have been missing for a number of um, I'm not going to say years, for a number of um, far
Man.
too long, generations,
Right.
generations. That's the accurate term. So all praises. We come to the end of the book of Shemot, and we've gone through the entire book, and it has been definitely
Hallelujah.
a barakah. Yes, indeed, it has been definitely a barakah. This is the first time I have completely read through these two books in its word for word in its entirety. So this is definitely a barakah. Um, that last little bit, it seems like you're just getting, seems like you're just kind of going through it, but no, it's deeper than that. It's deeper. It's not just here's a little something for you and just some filler. No, it's not filler. I mean, uh, this is uplifting the ruach of the
Indeed.
people who read it, and how many precepts are being pulled from Exodus chapter 40? Probably none. But
Hmm.
when you go through it, uh, just like you pointed out that Moshe finished his work as the Most High commanded him. So, much like Mashiach, it is finished. He finished his work. And, so that was a beautiful draw. So, all praises again, for the completion. And, God willing, you know, we just want to continue to get through this book and just continue to build and just learn more and more. Our praises for the ability of it.
Indeed.
Final thoughts, huh?
Uh, you know, one of the recurring themes that we saw
Hmm.
in this, and actually not just this past chapter, but in a number of those chapters that we were reading,
Hmm.
it said, "And they did as Yahweh commanded."
I noticed that.
That's what we have to do as well.
Hmm.
Do what He has commanded. Uh, Ecclesiastics 12:12, I believe it's. Uh, I'm paraphrasing, but fear the Most High and keep His commandments. You know, this is the duty of man.
12 and 13, I believe.
Okay, Khan.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's a whole duty of man. This is what we are. This is what he exists for. This is why he designed us. This is what, when we read through this and we get all of this, the, excuse me, all of this consistency, all of this without fail, more and more and more. I mean, we built from the bringing together of the earth, um, from bringing in the animals, from setting up the lights, the stars, the moon, and bringing in the human, uh, the man, I should say, uh, making a woman from him, their sin. I mean, I'm not going to recap the whole thing, but I mean, all of this is purposeful because it's gotten us to Abraham.
Come.
From Abraham, we learn about, well, I skipped to Abraham, but from Adam, of course, to Seth, to Noah, to Shem, to Eber, to Abraham, to Isaac, Jacob, now the 12 tribes, to Moshe, to coming out of Mizraim, to now building the tabernacle. And now the Most High is with us. That's what we are at this point in our reading.
Mm-hmm.
The Most High is with us, and we're moving according to and I say the Most High, of course, I mean His representative, but we're moving in according to His what He has planned. When He gets up, we get up. When He
Mm-hmm.
stays, we stay. He is our guiding light,
That's right.
our fire by night, our cloud by day. He is everything that we need at this point. And I don't know where it kind of goes off, but I'm sure that we're going to see it as we continue. But this is definitely a great barakah, a great blessing, and I cannot be more thankful. And I apologize for my throat. I dehydrated myself earlier in the week, and I'm still working on getting back to normal. So, but again, with that being said, I'm just thankful, just so thankful. Lost my octave. Um, I'm so thankful to the Most High for all that He's done and all that He continues to do for us um, as we go through this book. And I give Him all praise, honor, and great esteem for everything that He is and everything that He has done. And to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth, I say Shalom wa Baruchim, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High power, under one covenant. Until that day, Shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom, Yasharal. Shalom, Maki.
Shalom, Maki.